So now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing John to you. John is an author. He's an entrepreneur. He's a Singularity University faculty member, the first from Africa. He calls himself I think you call yourself a knowledge mercenary. I don't know what that means, but I dare say you'll explain that to us.
Sounds cool.
It sounds cool. It sounds cool. It sounds vicious. But anyway, so John is here. He's a celebrated author, fourth book, as you can see. John, really, really warm welcome to you. And you're smiling away. It's lovely. Welcome. Over to you.
Thank you.
Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that intro. I think all your points are valid. I think metamorphosis is a wonderful way to look at what's happening.
Last week was a sobering moment for me because one of my friends from my early broadcasting days, Richard Coram, he passed away in the UK. 5 of my cousins and my relatives in Toronto, they have been tested positive. A friend of an associate and colleague of mine in Abu Dhabi, she got it and she has sort of found her way through, and she's one of the recoveries. It's getting into our inner circle, John, and I think that to me is a really important factor, because now we are in quarantine for about 5 weeks or so, and it's now seeping through and we're getting into our circle, so we'll start feeling it more and more. The important thing at the moment is that our brains are wired differently. We think linear, we act linear, and the world is exponential, and this thing has put exponentiality onto steroids. And I think your analysis will start coming through from that.
Just to go back a little bit on what you were saying, what I did describe in the book is this concept that corona is hyper abstract until it's hyper local. It's happening as a disease to those people there until somebody has got it. And then it's a real, you gasp for air. And I know one person who's passed away. I know half a dozen people who have it. I have another few people that have already cured themselves from it. So I think we're all being affected by this very differently, but ultimately mortality is the question at play here. It's not just survival of business, is really deep down initially when it started, the fear of, do I have it? Can I get it? Will I die from it? And so I think that has really not been done. It's unprecedented. And also what we're seeing is the uncontrollable collapse of everyday life. Everything we knew is changing in one go. The way we do business, the way we structure our societies, the way we run our governments, the way we work, collaborate, spend, travel, and educate are all changing in one foul sweep.
You talk about a lot of this change. I know a lot is changing, but has enough changed for us to be able to recognize this as a black swan event yet? Because I'm not so sure it has, because a lot of people are wait and see. We'll be back in 2 months. It'll be fine, back to normal. What is normal and what is back to, why not forward to? So I don't think it's hit us yet. What do you think?
So I think 2 things. One, if we look at the spending habits of the people that came out of the war, they're called the baby boomers now, they were totally driven by safety and security. Yeah. And because every generation after that had this abundance of everything around them, they were driven by flexibility, creativity, ego, whatever the case was. I think ultimately what it's going to do first and foremost is change our spending habits. So that's a fundamental way of what we prioritize, what we want to spend on once this is done. Because the pain that people are living through are the people, the ones with the deepest pains are the ones who don't have any savings. Those are the people that are going to really shift the way they look at spending and mortgages and what they can afford based on the American dream of stretching yourself beyond what you can actually afford.
I actually work on a 3-month scenario. If this thing lasts for 3 months, I think not that much change will happen, and then we'll start going back again until the next crisis happens. A 6 to 9 month scenario, let's say by Christmas, if it's still there by Christmas, then companies will go under, banks will default, countries will default, then it starts changing. But if it goes on for 12 months or more, then we need to visualize ourselves and imagine ourselves completely differently. So how do we project ourselves into that, say, 12, 15 months from now, look back from there? Because your book shows a stepped process to get there.
Well, Tariq, I think that's a great question, but I want to pretend like I'm in this for 12 months. And if I use that energy as a catalyst to prepare, if I come back in 3, I'm winning. If I come back in 6, I'm winning. And so what I've done is I've totally re-envisioned how I can bring impact to the world, what value looks like, and how I can bring about more of it to the clients that used to pay me X, who don't have the cash flow anymore. How do I get many more clients to pay me Y so that I can still be able to add value and benefit from it? So for me, I've played with 3 and 6 and 12 month scenarios, and I've put something together around it. But I've been telling organizations I'm working with, pretend like it's 12 months and then start building like that, so that you are really catalyzed into, and I think it's one of the, not I think, I know, it's one of the points in my book. It's called burn your ships. Burn your ships of any expectation of 3 months so that you can be developing something brand new based on us not going back. And always the end result is, if we do go back early, you're winning, because now you've got 2 options.
So any final words,
Yes.
any final thoughts that you'd like to share, then I can do the wrap up.
The one thing I like to always end off with is, as human beings, we're made up of memories. These memories either energize you or make you feel bad. Get down to fixing your memories that make you feel bad. Become conscious of them, aware of them, and thank them. This releases you of patterns that have got you caught up in a world that you don't like. Once you release them, you've got a clean, brand new slate to recreate your future from. And the irony of the best way to prepare for your future is to heal your past. That by far is the biggest thing that has happened for me, where I've forgiven people from my past and situations, giving them a new opportunity to recreate. And there's never been a better opportunity for us to take this pause, take this time to re-evaluate our memories and choose the ones that serve us best and focus on those.
My final thoughts are that I think these are very testing times, but we need to find the good within this and to take it forward. So that's number one. Building social capital, trust networks, and everything around that, I think is a fundamental way forward, because if countries won't trust each other, there will be no travel. If countries don't share information, there won't be any healthcare data that is being shared. All of these things are based in trust. Now, whether we use blockchain or whatever to have that distributed form of trust, that is something we can explore. But we need to build those trust value chains and trust networks and social value chains and the networks. The third one, which you alluded to a lot, and I'm glad you did, is really looking after our planet. And this has become so clear during this phase that we need to look after our planet, because there will be future pandemics, and what do we need to do to respond to them faster? How do we contain them? Where are we looking? Where are we going in this process? The next one is trust in terms of companies. Now, I know Google and Apple are collaborating, and Philips has come in, and various other people. If we have the collective consciousness and the collective intelligence and the collective, the whole intellectual power that we've got together, perhaps we need the Bretton Woods of the future. We had the First World War and it ended with United Nations and World Bank and all of the others. They were designed 75 years ago for a problem for 75 years. My view is that today we need to set up our new set of institutions that we all trust, that we all relate to, that we all connect to, because it's to have I don't know, the United Nations of artificial intelligence, or the UN of managing, not GDPR. GDPR is just something that you have on a box and you tick, but something real. So these are new rules, new thoughts, new ideas. My last moment, and the best thing I can say here, that this too shall pass. We have seen many, many things that have happened like this in the past centuries. The Spanish flu took 50 million lives, and it was one absolutely devastating in 1918, 1919. I dare say, and hopefully nothing like that would happen to us. So we have a lot to look forward to once this thing is over. But the reset that we have, folks, this is the most amazing opportunity to reset and reinvent ourselves into an amazing future. And that is what and we started with the metamorphosis, but we'll end with that. That is what a butterfly looks like. When a butterfly starts out, it doesn't want to end as a caterpillar. It comes out as a beautiful butterfly. And I think this crisis can potentially make us into these new butterflies if we go and we can create the butterfly effect right from here, John, and go on into the future. There we go. That could be a new thing, a new butterfly effect. So yeah, there you go. That's a new thing. So here's the butterfly effect starting to help the future and bring about amazing new things into the future. And God bless everybody who's there. Please be safe, be careful, be happy, and we're all there. Reach out if there's anything we can do ever to give you advice and support and our system. I mean, we are there. I mean, we are so easy to contact, whether it's on Zoom or others. And I dare say, John, you'll respond to in the same way as I. And it's time now, really, to talk and support each other and build our global network and our global consciousness.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Ciao.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.